you know that 56% of high school dropouts are ninth graders? For a bit, it looked like I would be part of that statistic. My name is Soiree Davis, and I was a ninth grade high school student here in Detroit. I'm 15 years old and love art, the environment, volleyball, and school. I was born in Traverse City, but moved all over and lived lots of different places. I've lived in 17 different houses in my life. I have 3 sisters, 2 stepsisters, and 3 stepbrothers. I want to tell you a story. It's a story I never thought I would tell about myself, and you might not believe it to just look at me. I was arrested. Just a few months ago, I attended an elite high school in Detroit, and though I struggled, I was a pretty good student. But then I was arrested. First, let me tell you a little bit about me. At the age of 3, my parents divorced. I lived with my mom, but always visited my dad. I don't ever remember thinking I wanted my parents to be together. They had a good relationship, they just weren't meant for each other. I loved my family and enjoyed watching my family grow. My mom remarried, and my dad had my little sister with his girlfriend. I was always a good student and found it easy to make friends, even though I got picked on sometimes. Around 7th grade, I noticed things started to change. I had body image issues from social media. I was bullied for about a year, and my parents started to fight a little bit more, which made me a bit stressed. I started to get depressed and anxious, and did what some people might call self-harming, which meant that I started to cut myself. It was how I coped. I did that for 7th and 8th grade year, and then eventually I started smoking marijuana. In 9th grade, I would get with friends and I would smoke. I didn't do it a lot, but it made me feel like life was a little easier. It seemed like the teen culture here in Detroit was centered around smoking weed. Everyone was doing it, so I did it too. I was accepted to a really good school in Detroit, and I thought I would do well. I was excited to start school. But what I learned when I arrived was that they cared a lot about statistics and not a lot about their students. They cared about academics and achievement, but not about me. I didn't feel like I mattered. They wanted me to get into a good college, so they were trying to prepare me for that. But what they didn't do was prepare me for the 4 years of high school. I was overwhelmed. High school's hard. My English teacher resigned from her position because she needs to take care for her sick son. All of her students were left with a substitute after that, then another, and another. I fell behind in English class. I will admit that once the sub was there, I got lazy. I stopped caring. I failed English my first semester. The other thing that happened my first semester was I lost a friend to suicide. He was my best friend. Our parents were best friends. I had known him all my life. We grew up together. Once the second semester came, I was more anxious and more stressed. I continued to smoke and use edibles to cope. In June 2018, I was hanging out with a friend who was going through a rough time in her life. And while in class, we decided to take an edible. She took it, and the next hour she started to complain of a stomach ache and feeling strange. She went to the office and eventually told that I was the one that gave it to her. I was called down to the office and told I needed to give a statement about the incident. I didn't feel comfortable talking without my mom there. It's my right. So they started to threaten me, saying they'd call a cop car on me, and if I wanted to resist with an officer in the room. I was then taken to the precinct and teased by an officer while I was processed. She said, "I see we have a prisoner with no handcuffs." They just wanted to scare me. I sat in a cell until my mother came to get me. My school told me that they were going to expel me. No hearing whatsoever. So my mom called the Student Advocacy Center and got my advocate, Shaquille. I'm really thankful for her. She started advocating to get a hearing. even though the end of the school year had come and gone. Shaquella worked with me and my mom and therapist to prepare for the hearing, to get support letters, and we successfully prevented an expulsion. I was allowed to go back to any school of my choice. Shaquella even helped me make up the English class I failed the first semester. Now I'm in a new school. I enjoy it and I feel supported. I no longer smoke because I am focused again. I don't give in to peer pressure and I hang around a lot more positive people. I decided that smoking, being arrested, being expelled, and getting a bad reputation isn't for me. I have hope now. I look forward to getting higher grades this year and being mentally healthy and making the right decisions. I am determined not to be part of that 56%.